Hey, welcome back. So in the previous video, we looked at the different type of layouts that are available on Elementor Page Builder. We saw the grid-based containers, we saw the Flexbox containers, and we also saw the different use cases and how they are different from each other. Now in this video, let's start looking at different type of elements that are available on Elementor Page Builder, which will help you build your website. Now, before we move forward, first let's understand what is a container, what is an element, because these are so many terminologies that we would be using going forward. So to give you an overview, let's take this example. If your website is like your house, every page of your website is like a room in your house. Now, to design the layout of that house, you need containers. So the containers basically decide the layout of a particular room of your house. So a layout basically decides where should you place the sofa, where should be the window, where should be the TV kept, where should be the table kept. So the layout decides where what element should be placed. So that's the job of the container. Now each element is like your TV, sofa, your table, or your curtains. With elements, you can decide what should be the color of your sofa, what should be the size of your sofa, should it be 2-seater or 3-seater, should you use a LCD TV or an LED TV. So the minute control of each of these items is done by elements. So that's the purpose of elements. Elements are like each item in that room. The layout of the room is controlled by the containers. The entire room is like the page of your website, and the entire website is like your house. So I hope this gives you a clear idea of these terms that we will keep on using throughout these tutorials. Now let's look at what are the different type of basic elements that are available on Elementor Page Builder. So are you ready? Let's go. So here we are, back on the Elementor canvas of the home page that we created in the previous videos. So you can see that it's a blank page right now. And let's start looking at these basic elements that we have on the left hand side. Now these are the elements that are most frequently used throughout web design. These are the basic elements that come with the Elementor basic version. So you don't need Pro to use these particular elements that are shown over here. So let's first look at the heading element. Now all you need to do is just click on any of these elements like the heading element and just drag it over here and leave it. So the heading element is added now. Before moving forward, we can also open this structure over here, so it will give us the structure of different elements and containers on this page. So we can see that we have dragged the heading element to the page and it's wrapped inside a container, which is a Flexbox container. Now heading is the short text that you use throughout your website to attract attention to that particular section. So that short text basically conveys the message in a short way, and then you have a descriptive text under it. So this element helps you add heading to different parts of your website. Now the basic functionality that is offered inside this heading element is that you can change the heading from here. So you can make it like welcome to my website. Now when you type it here, you can see that the text is changing over here. So you can add the heading title over here. If you want this heading to be a link, you can drop any link over here. These link options basically give you option to open the link in a new window. So if somebody clicks on, so for example, let me add a link to or google.com, right? So I've added a link to google.com to this particular heading, and I want it to be opened in a new window. So I just select this And now you see, when I publish, the change is now implemented. So now just let's use this preview option to open the website page in a new window. And now you can see that when I click on this heading, it is taking the user to the Google website, and that website is opening in a new tab. So you can add links to your heading from here. For now, I don't want any link on my heading, so we can just remove this. Right now, these are the HTML tags that you can set up. Now every page has only one h1, and then everything under it is sequential. So depending on the hierarchy of that particular heading, you will assign it different tags like h1, h2, h3, h4, h5, h6. So we will cover this in some other video when I give you an overview of HTML tags. But for now, the main heading of the page should be h1, and then every heading under it can be h2, subheadings can be h3, h4, like that. So it has to be sequential. Now, so under content, you can decide the content of the heading, if you want any URL there, and what should be the tag for that heading. So that is managed under content tab. Now moving on to the style tab, this is where you can decide if your heading, how your heading should be aligned horizontally. Should it be on the left hand side? Should it be in the middle of the page? Should it be on the right hand side, or should it be stretched, justified, right? So I normally keep it on the left hand side. Now typography decides what kind of fonts you want to use. So I basically want it to be primary font, and the color here decides what color should be the heading of. So I want it to be, say, primary color. So now you can see from the style page, you can decide the typography. You can even manually select a typography. So I want the heading to be, say, Helvetica. Right? I want it to be extra bold, and I want the size in pixel to be, say, 80 pixels. So all this can be done from here. So this area decides the style, the typography, and the position, alignment, what should be the color. And if you want the color to change on hover, you can select this option and then decide what should be the color on hover. So I change it to the accent color. Now when I assign a link over here and publish, now we again look at this in a new window. When I bring the mouse cursor over the heading, you can see that on hover the color is changing, and we have already added a link to it. So when we click on it, it takes user to the Google page. So it's so simple, right? Now moving on, the advanced section helps you decide the spacing. Like I explained to you in the previous video, margin is the space between the elements and the containers, whereas the padding is the space inside the element or the container. So if I add a 100 pixel space, you can see that it's getting added inside the element. But if I add a 100 pixel space in the margin, now you can see that the space is actually between the container and the element. If I make this 0, you can see that between the container and element, there is no space in the top and bottom. On the left and right hand side, you will see a space because we have fixed the width of content to 180 pixel in the container. That is why you see that space. So now moving down, these are some of the basic options, like you can add a background to a particular element. From here you can add, say, I want the secondary color to be the background of this element, right? So if you want a border, you can decide what kind of a border you want. A solid border is added. Border width can be decided from here, right? So I have added a 30 pixel border to this element. You want the radius. Radius is basically a curvature that you add to the corners of the border. So say I want a 50 pixel curvature. So you see how easily you can design these elements using all the options that are provided over here. These are a little more technical for you, but I had shown you the responsive options. Like if I want to hide this particular element on say tablet and show it only on desktop and mobile, I'll just hide it on tablet. So now see, when we move from desktop to tablet, this section is shown as hidden. So when people look at it in the tablet, they will not see this heading. But when we go to a mobile, they will see this heading. Now it's not looking good because we have not designed it for mobile yet, but when we design it, it will look good. Coming back to the desktop, we'll remove this option here. Custom CSS is where you add some custom CSS to manage the look and feel using code, which would be too technical for you, as this tutorial is just for basic website designers who are building a website for their own business or themselves. So that's it. So now let's move on to the next element. Right? So the next element that we have here is the image element. Let's drag that here. So you can see this image element lets you add an image to your website or any page of your website. So you can under the content tab, you can add the content, which is the image. So you can choose an image or upload an image from here. You can add a link to the image, add a caption to the image, decide the size, the resolution that you want to use. In the style section, you can style the image. You can decide what should be the width, right? Do you want a small image, a large image, 100% width? What should be the max width, the height of the image? Right? If the image should be opaque, should there be some action on hover? Should the image become opaque? You can do that from here, right? Should there be any hover animation like shrinking of the image, right? Or pulsating? You can also decide if there should be a border to the image from here. You can add a solid border to the image. You can decide the width of the border. You can even add a radius, that is the curvature, to the corners of the image. So like we could make changes to the style of the heading element, similar way we can make those changes to the image element also. So if I reduce the size, right, we can even see that you want the image to be the center, to the start or to the end. We can control all of this from here, right? Then the advanced tab lets you control the margin and the padding. Should the width be default, full width, or do you want a custom width for the image? If I want a custom width, I can decide, okay, the image should only take 30% space inside the container. But if I wanted to take 100% space, I can just set it at full width. By default, it's full width. So like this, all these controls can be done from here. So like any other element, you add the content from the content tab, you style the element using the style tab, and then you decide the spacing, the animation, the background, borders, and all those things can be controlled from the advanced tab. Now moving on to the third element. Before we do that, let me just reduce the size of this image element so that we can see the other elements also clearly. So yeah, let's make it 40%. All right, so let's move forward and look at the third element. The next element is the text editor. So on any website, in addition to the headings, you also add some text, right? So that text can be added using this text editor. So you can just paste some random text over here so that we get an idea about this text editor also. So from the content tab, you can control the content that you paste through this option. You can decide like how many columns should be there. So if you want the content to move into 2 columns, you can do that. If you want the content to move into 3 columns, you can do that too. So this is basically a newspaper effect, right? So I want it to be just the default 1 column. So all that, the content part can be added and managed from here under the content tab. Now in the style tab, we can decide the typography, right? So I can put it at text. And if I want to reduce the size, I can control it from here. I just want it to be this size, around 12 or 13 pixels. I want to give it a medium weight. So all of this can be controlled from here. Now I can change the color of the text also. So I want it to be this color. Right? If you can even add a link to this text and add a hover effect also from this section. So the style tab helps you style the text. So you added the content from content tab, then you styled it using the style tab. Now if I want to add any spacing, I can do it using margin and padding. So this is a similar flow for all elements. So any element that you add, you can manage them using these 3 tabs. Moving forward to the next element, which is the video element. Now you would have also seen that on a lot of websites you see a video running. So that can be added using this video element. So here also you have these 3 tabs, which is content, style and advanced. So here is the video element, right? Now from the content tab, you can decide the source of the video. It could be YouTube, Vimeo, Dailymotion, VideoPress, or you self-host the video on some server like Bunny, right? So normally YouTube is the most common. You can select YouTube over here and place a YouTube URL link directly, and that's it. It will start showing that YouTube video on your website. You can decide the start time, end time. Do you want the video to autoplay when somebody lands on your website? Or you can see when I switched it on, the video starts playing on its own. Do you want the video to play on mobile, mute? So many control options, like if you want the controls to show or not. If I hide it, the controls will not show anymore, right? So all of these things can be done from here. Do you want an image to overlay on top of this video? So the content can be added from the content tab, and now you can style it. Do you want, what should be the dimensions, right? Should it be 16 by 9, or do you want it to be a square? So now the video player is basically acting as 1:1 dimension, 3:2 dimension. So you can change the dimensions from here. Typically 16:9 is the right dimension that you should use, because that's how we are used to looking at videos. But you can change as per your preference from here. From mobile, you can even have 9:16, so which is more of a vertical video. But then you can see the video gets cut from the side. So I normally keep it 16:9. Now moving on to advanced, again like any other element, this helps you add some kind of a margin, spacing outside the element, padding, spacing inside the element. So like this, you can make these changes from here. You can add a background, you can have a motion effect, you can add a border, you can make it visible or hidden on different type of devices. So all that is managed from the advanced tab. Now I will just remove these. Okay, so here we are. Let me also reduce the size of this video element so that we can see other elements that we keep on adding. So let's add the next element now. The next element is the button element. Now again, in addition to headings, text, videos and images, you would have also seen buttons on different websites. A button basically allows user to take some action, to either go to a different page or submit some details on the website. So by clicking on this button, you can redirect user to a specific location on your website. So from inside the button also, you see the same 3 tabs: content, style and advanced. In content, you can basically add the text that goes inside the button. So right now it says click here, but we can change this to button. If when the user clicks on this button, where should the user be taken? So say for example, we want him to go to Google website, and I want the Google website to open in a new window. So we tick this, right? So now this button takes the user to a new website, which is Google website, and it will open in a new tab. Now this basically helps you assign what kind of a button this is. So I will keep it default. Now in styling, you can actually style the button, how the button should look on your website. The first thing is position. Where should it be positioned? Should it be in the middle? Should it be on the right? Or you want it to stretch throughout the web page? So for now, just let's keep it on the left. Now typography lets you decide what kind of text and the font size and all those things, right? The weight of the font. So that can be controlled from here. Now, do you want the text to have a shadow? You can control that from here. What should happen to the text color when the user hovers on it? So normally if the text color by default is white, on hover I want it to be accent. So when somebody takes the mouse on top of this button, the button should change color. The text of the button should change color. If I assign the primary color here, then it will change it to the primary color. If I assign the secondary color here, then the button will change to the secondary color. So let's keep it accent for now. Now you can also add the type of background. So when, say, normally the background is of this color, right, the primary color, but when the user hovers, I want the background to change to this color, secondary color. So you see, now the background color is also changing and the text color is also changing. So you can do these basic animations just using these settings, right? So now whenever I take the mouse on top of the button changes color and the text also changes color. So these are the things. Now you can also decide if there should be any kind of a hover. So I want the button to grow in size also in addition to changing color. So I use this grow hover animation. I want to add a border to the button, then I can use this option. I want the radius, a little curvature on the button, right? So like this, we can add that too. So you can make this button look more and more professional, right, by doing this. If you want to add some spacing inside the button in all directions, you can do like this. Or if you want the left and right spacing should be more, then you can do this, right? You can just delink from here and then change each of these padding separately. Now, so this is basically the styling of button that can be done from the style tab. Now, like I told you earlier, the padding, the margin can be controlled from here. You can add some motion effects, you can add all different things from here. You can make it responsive, visible on mobile, but not visible on the other device type. So that all can be managed from here. So that was the button element for you. Now moving forward to the next element, which is the divider. Now divider is nothing but it adds a space between different elements. So if I move the divider up between image and video, you can see this divider line between these two elements. So I can decide the width of this line also, right? I want it only this much, or say only 35%, and I want it to be in the middle of the page, right? So this can be done from here. What type of a divider should it be? Should it be double? Should it be dotted? All that can be controlled from here. I want it to be solid, right? Now the styling of the divider can be done from here. So we can change the color of the divider from here. So I want the divider to be of this accent color. What should be the gap, right? We can increase the gap and reduce the gap between the elements from here. Say I want to keep it 30 pixel, right? What should be the weight? That means the width of this line. I can add the weight from here. As I keep on increasing, you can see the line is becoming broader. So the divider is used to add some kind of a spacing or a division between different elements or sections of the website. Now you can manage the margin, padding from here under the advanced tab. You can manage the animations, motion effects, all those things, right? That can be done from the advanced tab. So that was the divider. Now let's look at the next element, the spacer. Spacer again is very similar to divider, but it just adds space. So it doesn't have any color or any width or nothing, right? So you see now here there is no style option. There is only content from where you can decide the space. This is used when you don't want to use the divided line like this and you just want a blank space. So you can use this element to do that work for you. And here you can add margin and padding from advanced and all the other options that are available here. So that was the spacer element. Now moving forward, Google Maps. Now in a lot of websites, especially on the contact us page, you will see a Google map shown with the location of that particular business, right? So that can be done using this particular element. So let's add this here and see. So like you can enter the location over here and it will show that location on the map. You can control how much zoom should be there on this location. So see, as I increase, you can see it's zooming in into the map. So I can make it full 20. So now it's showing the location, right? What should be the height of this? I can control the map height also from here. So the content related settings are in under the content tab. Now I can style it. Do I want some action to happen on hover? I can do it from here. And all the other options like margin and padding are available under the layout section. So this is how you can add a map to your website. I can even reduce the size of this map, the width of this map. I want it to only be 40%. So see, we can do that too. So that's how you basically manage and insert a map on your website. Now moving on, the last basic item that we have is the icon. Now icon is basically a small illustration or a small image that you want to use on your website. So you can either go to the icon library and select an icon. So for example, you have a section where you're talking about your store. So you can select a store icon and insert it. So now you can see the icon of your store is visible here. You can even upload an icon that you have created on your own, that is a custom made icon. If you want people to use this icon as a link, and when people click on it, they go to a different website or a different page, you can put the link over here. You can style this icon also. So you can decide where should the item be aligned. Should it be in the center, left or right? You can control that. What should happen when somebody hovers on it? So if normally the icon color is the primary color and somebody hovers on it, it should become the accent color. So that change you can see happening over here, right? What should be the hover animation? All those animations can be controlled from here. See? So what should be the size of the icon? Right? I can increase it to up to 300 pixels. I can rotate the icon also from here. So the styling of the icon is done by the style tab. You add the icon from the content tab, you do styling from the style tab, and then if you want to add any margins or padding, that can be done over here. What should be the width of this entire item element? I say it should be inline or it should be custom. I want to reduce it to say only 10 pixels. So now it's a small element over here, right? And with the alignment, I can actually move it to right, left, wherever I want it to be placed. So that was the icon element. So with this, we have covered all the different type of basic elements that are available on Elementor. These basic elements are available to you even if you don't have Elementor Pro. So you can build a website, a basic website using only these elements itself. So in the next video, we'll look at all the other type of elements that are available like general, pro, there are some side, single, all of these different kind of elements we'll look in the upcoming videos. So I hope I was able to explain the different kind of basic elements to you. If you have any doubts, please look at the link in the description because there I will insert the screenshots and You can go through those screenshots and understand the purpose of these different elements. I hope I was able to deliver value to you. In the next video, let's look at other type of elements that are available on Elementor. So till then, I hope you have a good time. I'll see you in the next one. Have a nice day.